Welcome to Our Place in Our World, brought to you by the RHS Stampede.
So I just want to go back to like a comment you made earlier, Trevor, regarding you don't believe Trump is a white nationalist. So when Trump says the comment, when he said the comment, the first thing that came to my head was, oh no, you're Trump, no, you are a white nationalist. The first thing that came to my head was, how can you say that white nationalism isn't on the rise when there's so many things that have proven that it is? So if we take Trump out of this equation, there's so many things that have happened, like the shootings, like a bunch of stuff. So even if like Trump like isn't a white nationalism, how can you not say that it's not on the rise when there's so many things that prove that it is?
I feel like he didn't like jumpstart like white nationalism, like make America white and everything, but I feel like he definitely influenced it in a way, even if it wasn't intentional, like just because like the way that he says things, it makes it seem like it influences other people to be like, oh, like white supremacy, like we should be the best race here in America and that we should own everything. But I feel like he didn't really like jumpstart it, but he just influenced it in a way just with his words and everything.
Or with just the riot in Charlottesville, like his response to that was that there were fine people on both sides, when that's not the case. One side is blatantly anti-Semitic. So how can you say there are fine people on both sides when they are basically saying burn all Jews and that Jewish people should not be allowed here? And again, Judaism is not a Protestant religion. So it goes back to that whole thing with the Ku Klux Klan. They were all about making America white, making America Protestant. So just my thing with, is it entirely Trump's fault? No, because there are people before Trump who already thought like this. But I feel like as in a role of the president, yes, his policies are like any other Republican presidents. You can, like with trickle-down economics, Reagan did that. But the difference between Reagan and Trump is Reagan was a lot more charismatic with how he spoke, and he was a lot more presidential with how he spoke. I feel like with being a president, you have to have the policy-wise, you have to be aligned with that, but also you cannot say inflammatory, derogatory things, especially in a nation which is as mixed as ours.
I would just like to say on the Charlottesville comments, I'm going to have to defend Trump a little bit on that, in the sense that I believe that the way he worded what he said made it very easy to mischaracterize it. But if you actually look at what he said, what he was trying to do, clearly what he was trying to do was calm tensions. He didn't want them to people to be fighting anymore in the streets. So he felt that the best way to calm the tensions was to basically just compliment both sides and just have them kind of try to calm them down. And if you do look at it, you could find good people on either side. On the right side of the aisle, which is where a lot of the negative stuff was, it was majority negative. But there was some, probably doesn't even have to be that many people. There was a few people who really just didn't want some monuments torn down. And maybe those monuments should be torn down. But just because they didn't want them torn down doesn't make them necessarily bad people. It just might make them ignorant of some sort of things. And look, on the left side of the aisle, there was good people there, and there was also bad people. There was a lot of rioters. There was a lot of Antifa rioters who were going in there and just punching people. And same on the right side. There was people that were going in there and just punching other people. So I feel like with the Charlottesville comments, it was very easy for the media to take those and run with it and make it look like all evil and bad and, oh my God, Trump's a racist, he's a white nationalist. But if you actually look at the context of the comments and what the comments actually said, he was more so just trying to calm the tensions between both sides.
And I want to go back to what Jordan and Trevor both stated on, was how Trump doesn't really know how to address things. And I think, like you brought up Reagan, and I think maybe Reagan had that practice already because maybe he was already governor. He was governor of California. He already had that chance in politics. This is kind of Trump's first run at politics. So he doesn't really know how his words can really affect a whole nation. And so I think that that's where he struggles at, how he gets things across, and like Trevor said, people can run with things. So if you say one thing that's wrong, and you're president, so you're on this scale. And if you say something in a certain way and not careful with your words, people can misconstrue stuff all the time.
I think it's even worse too that we live in a society now where technology and mass media is like you can get information instantly. And I think even like in our society now with Twitter especially, people are more politically active in a sense, but then there's also, I feel like, these bandwagons, especially when Trump was first president, like, oh my God, I hate him, like he's that's
And like those tweets that people do where they get like 100,000 retweets by just saying some like
negative
phrase,
thing about
yeah.
it. And I feel like that's also a negative thing. It's hard for people to truly choose a side. Like some people, if you ask a random like student or something, like, do you like Trump? Like maybe automatically be like, no, because he did this, but maybe it's not true, or like they don't look at his policies and see that he's not trying to make the white race superior. And I think the media definitely is gonna take a toll, especially if it's his first run in politics. It's gonna be super difficult for him to like even gain the support of the people again, or even future presidents or future politicians, because the media really can take you down. And if the bandwagon is that everyone should hate you, you're going down, basically, I feel like.
My thing is just like what you said, like Reagan had more practice. Yeah, that's completely true. But also, Trump, he's been in office for 2 years now, a little over 2 years. He should have taken what he learned in his first year in office and see what he did wrong and see what he did right, and then try to change how he says things, how he portrays things in his second year in office. Like, honestly, like I don't know where I really stand politically, whether it's Republican or Democrat, because I'm not I don't really look into policy yet. I will though for 2020 election, but anyway. But I feel like he would not be a terrible president if he would just keep his mouth shut, like that, because like I said earlier, his policies are basically the same as every other Republican. It's just his inflammatory comments is what
Media.
and how the media portrays him, etc. It just brings him down, which makes me not want to like him, because he doesn't have the personality of a president. He doesn't have that strong leadership role to me.
And just to add on to that a little bit, I would agree, and I would say that not only do his comments do show him as a little bit unpresidential, which is an issue for him, it is an issue for the country in the sense that it doesn't necessarily cause the polarization, but it doesn't help the polarization in the country either, which is part of the reason why you'll get some of these shootings and stuff, is because the country is just so polarized. People feel like violence is the only answer.
All right, that is it. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast of Our Place in the World. So this is Joy.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Bianca.
I'm Trevor.
Thank you again.